We're recording. Hey everybody, it's Joe. It's The Regularity. If you're looking for something creative to do, there's a bunch of stuff that's going on this week on Hit Record. If you feel like drawing, if you feel like doing some voice acting, taking pictures, making music, I'm gonna go through some creative challenges. And then I'm gonna have a conversation with a gal who's been on the site since 2010. Her name is Sabine. And she just started this project, sort of a kids book, but potentially kids like short animated film project that I want to talk to her about called Pinstripe Shelly. But first, let's do some creative challenges. First up, if you feel like drawing, it's October, which means it's Inktober. Every October, people have been challenging each other to just draw one ink drawing per day in October. It's kind of just a fun reason to draw something. Next up is a voice acting challenge. This is a project called House of Horrors. They're making kind of an October radio drama, and this is a very simple challenge that just says, we need screams. Here's a really simple photography challenge if you feel like taking a picture. This is a challenge from Lily B. Take a photo of somewhere that makes you feel calm, a place you go to decompress. And here's a music challenge for the songwriters out there. Create a song about a failed romance using the 3x4 poems. So there was this whole challenge to write poems in this 3x4 format. And if you use those, that could be a good jumping off place to write a new song. All right, so those are some creative challenges. Now I'm going to walk into my non-office. Follow me, Eddie, and shoot in front of a completely blank wall to have a conversation with Sabine.
Hi.
Hey, what's going on?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good. Where are you?
I'm in Louisville, Kentucky.
Right on. I'm in New Orleans, Louisiana, as you can tell from this bare white wall. It's
Yes,
the only place I
it's
can find
awesome. I love it.
Are you from Louisville, Kentucky?
No.
I grew up in Germany.
Okay, cool. What are you doing in Louisville?
I don't know.
So I know you want to talk today about this project you started recently, Pinstripe Shelly.
Yep.
For anybody watching who isn't familiar with the project, you want to just describe it really briefly?
Okay, so
Pinstripe Shelly is about a sunflower sprout who gets her blossom stuck in her shell, and so it looks like a hat. And all the other sunflowers, her peers, start making fun of her and tease her and bully her. And she tries to get out of it really badly and struggles and fights and nothing works. And then one day a storm comes in and whips everybody around, but she's used to it. She's kind of toughened up in this whole process, and the shell kind of protects her. But all the other sunflowers lose their blossoms. And then the storm moves on, and they're kind of in a way naked, but she's okay. And then suddenly the shell pops off and poof, her blossom comes out and she's all good. And the irony is that she starts out being different, and she kind of ends up being different, but it's okay now. And so the point is that you grow and you become strong, and you shouldn't worry about what everybody says, and just be yourself and accept yourself.
Is this sort of a metaphor for something in your personal experience, your life, or like where did this come from?
well,
There's several layers to this. I love gardening. I always plant sunflowers, and I always watch a few sprouts that can't make it, they can't break out. But at the same time, I have two kids, and they're both on the autism spectrum, and they're both on Hit Record.
Oh, that's awesome. Really great.
No, they're awesome. But it's something that's always on my mind. And they're teenagers now, and they're very well aware that they're a little different and how people view them. And whatever I write, when it's for kids, I write a lot of kids stuff. I always try to kind of sneak that in. Be okay with who you are.
We're right in a space here, an area that I really love. Kind of the profound children's story. Like Dr. Seuss is one of my favorite artists ever.
yes.
And there's definitely a lot of Dr. Seuss here. We should say to the folks watching, this story that you told of this sunflower is written in rhyme.
Yes.
So which came first? Was it this drawing that came first, or was it the writing that came first?
Well, I had the idea because I grow my sunflowers, so I saw that right there happening. The general idea came, and then I started with sketching to see, well, what would it look like. And then I had this whole thing in my head, and then the poem happened.
That's really cool. Okay, so I want to talk about the writing here.
Okay.
tell me about, like, specifically, you know, a big part of a piece of writing working is if there's a metaphor like this, you want the metaphor to be clear. So I just read this once or twice, and
Okay.
on first read, I'm going to give you a little, hopefully, constructive feedback here.
Okay.
On first read, I didn't quite follow what meant what.
Okay.
And I think that might be partially because I was just reading the poem and I didn't have the illustration to go along with it. So I think it probably would be a lot clearer with if it were a book, or if it were a film,
Yes.
if it were a film, you'd have the narration and then you'd be seeing the visuals and animation. And if it were a book, then you'd see the text and you'd see the illustrations at the same time. Because at first you said it's a striped hat and then a shell. So I just had a little trouble, like, totally tracking exactly. I think, again, if you saw it, it would probably be clearer. But then the storm comes. This is actually, I think, probably my biggest note here. About halfway through the poem, or a little bit past halfway, you have a verse here that says, "It was of no use," because Shelley's sort of wriggling and jiggling, trying to get out of her shell, right? And you say, "It was of no use, the hat, it was stuck, until a storm hit, and to Shelley brought luck." So here's one thought here is, I know everyone probably assumes it's going to be a happy ending.
Yeah.
It has that tone. But still, even if you know it's going to be a happy ending, I'm not sure. You're sort of giving that away here by saying that the storm brought her luck. And the other problem there is then, right following that, "and to Shelley brought luck," the next line is, "The wind snatched the blossoms from the other flowers, but Shelley O'Malley shimmied for hours." So you say that it brought her luck, but then the next line doesn't describe how it brought her luck. So it got a little confusing to read. So I'll let you decide how you want to address that. I think you probably might want to change the line about bringing her luck. I don't know, find a different, rhyming makes it difficult, but like find something else that sort of sets up the suspense more than tells you how it's going to end.
Yep, that makes sense. Yep.
Even just changing that one line, it's surprising sometimes how, like, one little change can kind of cascade the rest of the poem.
Yes.
But I really like your writing. I think I would be eager to see what other people would do if they threw in on the writing, just to, like, keep playing with it, because poetry, you've written, like, this rhyming poem. It's really fun. It's also the kind of thing that other people would probably have fun, like, trying other playful ways to phrase things, and you might come up with some really cool wordsmithing. Would you be open to having other people kind of throw in different ideas and stuff on the text here?
No.
Okay.
Yes, that's cool. Yeah, that's what it's about.
And there's that line, and then I think, I find in writing, and I think it's true for even writers who write entire screenplays and have the sole credit of writing, they never ever really do it alone. Never. You always get feedback from other people.
Yes. Yes.
Always. And it's just really helpful part of the writing process.
Oh, absolutely. No, I agree.
No, I'd love to see what others say.
Great. So then, and I see you already have an illustration challenge up and a voiceover challenge up. That's exciting. So you could really, it seems to me like you could sort of go for the book format easily enough, because you need to do that on the way to making a short film anyway. You need to get all those illustrations in place anyway if you're going to make it into an animated little short. So any thoughts you want to give to people who are going to draw or do the voiceover?
Well, first, I think I will try to give it a little bit more specific direction. I think I need to, based on what has come in. There were some people that got a little creative on their own to give some ideas. One great one is by a member called Unicorn Salient, and she gave it sort of an Irish twist.
On a swell summer's day, in a sunflower patch, an overdue sprout surprisingly hatched.
That one's fantastic. Another one, she gave it a southern accent.
On a swell summer's day, in a sunflower patch, an overdue sprout surprisingly hatched.
And I like that because the Southerners, by nature, even when they talk about something sad, they do it with a smile.
And so there's that hope. So,
I really like that twist. So there's some great ones came in, but there's also a lot of them that are very just straightforward reading. And so I feel I need to give a little bit more direction. But other than that, my thing to the members would be just dig in, don't be afraid. I let it out.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the drawings. What I would like to do, when I was a kid, I was a bookworm big time, and I loved many books, but there were a few that were my treasures. I mean, you were not allowed to touch them.
Which books were that for you?
The number one would be The Little Prince.
Oh yeah, Le Petit Prince.
That was one of them, and I would like to bring that across. Something really that gets to a kid. They won't let go of it.
That's great.
that's my goal.
Well, cool. Anything else you want to talk about with the project, or talk about with me, or anything else?
Well, the one thing I want to say from my experience now, maybe 15 years of pitching to anything from indie people to all the way to some big agencies, I have maybe 2 or 3 people that responded to me with constructive feedback and tops 5 minutes. And what you're doing, I'm just blown away by this opportunity. This was great.
Oh,
And
good.
I
Thank
hope
you.
this keeps going, and I hope hit recorders take it seriously and really get prepared with real questions. This is amazing. I'm just thrilled. So thank you so much. This is awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be doing it. I feel like it's something I've kind of done in different ways, but I wanted to like really get into doing it more and more. And the truth is that Hit Record is kind of purely a community of people making things together.
Yes.
And I am sort of started it, and I'm leading it, but like really how would I do that well unless I'm actually talking with the people that are doing it? And I think it's easy when you're trying to like run a company and all that. It can be there's a lot to try to juggle.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure.
But this should be first, honestly. And so I'm happy that it was a good experience for you. This is only the second time that we're doing it. I'm sure it'll evolve and keep getting better. But I really enjoyed talking to you. And
Yes, absolutely. This is
thanks for your time.
Yes, thank you so much.
And I look forward to seeing what happens with Pinstripe Shelly.
Yep, thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Fine.